So a very warm welcome to today's Therefore webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about conquering HR processes with Therefore. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you Charline LeMarchand, Business Development Manager for France and other French-speaking countries. And she
Hi,
has
everyone.
she has a really interesting and insightful presentation for all of you today. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to the indomitable, incredible, and amazing Charline LeMarchand to talk to you about HR.
Wow, not too much pressure. Hi, everyone. So thank you very much. So yeah, Charline, I'm from France, and I look after business development for French-speaking countries. And it's a pleasure also for me to be there with you and to talk about HR, a very big topic. When it comes to document management, security, and all the great benefits that therefore can bring to your company. So let's talk about how we can help you to conquer HR processes with Therefore. So we'll see quickly the context of digitalization. So why go for digitalization? We'll talk slightly about our solution and what it can do for you. And then I'll show you a demo of Therefore to see really what it can do. And then we'll talk about two cases in France of customers who have implemented Therefore for HR. So digitalization adoption factors. If you are already on this call, I guess it's because you already know a lot about the benefits that so information management and Therefore can bring to companies. But let's do a reminder. So obviously, when we implement information management and process automation, the main benefit that we're looking for is increased efficiency to avoid emails, avoid attachments, avoid follow-up calls, to chase information and validation. So really, it's all about automating how a company works to avoid manual processes and increase the productivity, the service that we can bring, the quickness of our answers to different questions and process. It's also to improving employee satisfaction. If you spend a few hours a week or even a day to follow up, to call people, to get validation signatures, it's quite annoying, quite frustrating. So obviously frustration can bring a lack of motivation. People can leave, and it also brings a bad spirit to the way people are working. It's the way people work when they're in manual processes is very silo based. So obviously automating the processes, digitalizing the way we work is streamlining all those processes. Competition is getting very fierce because, well, Therefore exists since 15 or more years, but more than that, companies have started digitalization, over 15 years, because I've been there at least 14 years at Therefore. So we've been talking about it for a long time. So companies are born in this new era with automation in their DNA. So it's very important for your company to modernize and to automate these processes to be in tune with what people expect and to what employees and new generation expect in terms of traceability, reactivity, and the quickness of tasks. And last but not least, the compliance, extremely important when we talk about HR, especially with GDPR. GDPR, QVCT is a special norm in France, compliancy regarding the quality at work. ISO, obviously, for quality processes, but most of all, really, the GDPR is the most important, and it does bring a lot of benefits to digitalize your processes, and we'll have a focus on it later. Companies have invested a lot in the last few years in digitalization or automation of processes and security for two reasons. One is obviously the compliancy, especially GDPR, but also the increased amounts of ransomware and virus and attacks that companies are facing, whether they are small, whether they are big, whether it's even state, airport, hospitals, private, public. There's a really, really massive increase in ransomware. So companies are really focusing on increasing their security. So therefore, online is answering part of this of those topics, and we'll focus on it a bit later. Also, the public health crisis have brought companies to really focus on working from home, working from elsewhere than the office. So digitalization of processes is key in that process, in that way of working, and the change of methodology, change of paradigm in the way companies are operating. So that's really a focus on the investment. And then a few years ago, companies were not so interested, I would say 15 years ago, about the way documents were shared in the company. A lot of documents were on the network, in their shared folders, in drives, in their emails. But now companies have, organizations have realized the importance of centralizing all the information, gaining control over this information, because you have strategic documentation, like highly confidential information that can be spread everywhere with absolutely no control over which document is sent as it can be a contract, it can be medical information sent as an attachment of an email. You don't know who has forwarded it, who has access to it. Absolutely no control. So really, when we're talking about HR documents, but also the rest of the company strategic documents, it's really a big focus now to centralize and to regain control over the company documentation, and not have it spread over the different supports. So focus on the GDPR. The GDPR has many requirements on how your organization can collect, store, and use personal information. You need to identify the documents, to store them, to secure them in a proper way. We need to have a transparency over how the documents is and documentation, actually, to explain how the document is stored. We need to detect and also report any breaches to the GDPR. So if we know that some personal information have been sent via email or via attachment with no control over it, especially on a wide scale, it needs to be declared to the proper authorities of your country. And most of all, also, it's important to train employees, but also make them sign documents to sensibilize them on the importance of respecting the personal data. It's not a joke. GDPR is very serious. The authority in France is called CNIL, so CNIL. And in 2022, there were already 21 sanctions of a total of 101 million euros, so extremely high. And it's not only big companies like we could think, it's also small companies that can be touched, because it's based on people declarations. So in France anyway, you can call the CNIL and say, I know that this company is not dealing with personal data properly. Can you visit them to audit them? And the sanction can fall if you're not respecting the GDPR compliancy requirements. So that's very important. So it's really something that companies need to look into. So let's say a few words about Therefore, and then how we can help you tackle all these topics. Therefore has been offering information management since 92. So over 30 years experience in information management. We are partly owned by Canon since 2008 at 49%. So we're part of the Canon group. There's hundreds of thousands of users using Therefore worldwide, so in the 4 corners of the world, and with also competencies of Therefore implementation specialists, consultants who can talk about information management for your HR processes, but also a lot of other topics. And we're based in Austria, in Europe. Therefore, is a world leader in information management. In October, Software Reviews have launched their new results for 2023, and we're extremely proud to be in the leader quadrant on very high product feature and satisfaction, but also the capabilities of Canon and partners to implement the product. So this is something we're really proud of. The two features that stand out are the workflows and the e-forms, so the possibility of customizing the workflows and the e-forms, which are really unlimited feature available for everyone, and it's really a great feature to work with. Therefore, was also recognized in 2022 as the best solution for HR administration and management in France, thanks to its comprehensive management of HR requirements, from recruitment to offboarding, including onboarding, the daily life, everything really can be dealt in with. Therefore, highly customizable, compatible with the requirement of GDPR, very user-friendly interface, you'll see it in the demo, powerful workflow, and a very comprehensive feature set. So, regarding GDPR, since the launch of GDPR, we have made the necessary steps to have therefore audited. So careful, it's not because you implement therefore that you are compliant with GDPR. You have some internal requirements and internal actions to make, such as the training of your employees and your internal documentation to be signed. But if you have all your documents and processes in therefore, we are really helping companies to be compliant, thanks to a compliancy by design and compliancy by default, or confidentiality by design, sorry, and confidentiality by default in the solution itself. So how can therefore help? Well, we will help you save and retrieve and classify personal data, help by organization in a really central way, so it's very easy for everyone to find the documents that they need according to their habilitation, but in a few seconds. It's very easy to find. It's a very secure environment because you have roles, you have habilitation, you have really a very fine granularity of security that you can set in therefore. We simplify the control and management of the personal data because of, thanks to all the security that we can set, but also with the traceability that we bring, especially as part of the workflow, but also as part of the versioning, for example, of what people have been doing on the documents, the modifications that have been made. And also we stay compliant with GDPR, especially with the retention period, because one of the main requirements of GDPR is the retention policy to say that you can save a document or you can keep a document for a specific amount of time. So therefore you can set some policies in to actually set the time of conservation and retention of those documents. This is extremely helpful. We can help enhance security implementation with the security settings, high security space, and therefore we can limit the display and permissions on index fields. So some keywords containing personal data, so you can hide some data. You can have regularly check therefore to have security reports also being generated, but also checks on now with the new feature of V30 to see if anyone has been using your accesses. Even as a user, you can check that. You can activate backup disk, storage, retention policies, migration schedule to keep all your data safe and sound in different environments. And as I mentioned earlier, define retention policies according to the different document type. So in terms of process management and action plans, you can store the security settings documentation, and therefore you can implement workflows, in therefore for incident reporting, so breach reporting. When you have someone requesting to access their personal data, we have an e-form where you can ask this with a workflow behind, because you have a specific period of time in which you can delay in which you have to reply, so therefore can help this as well. you can display only some information and not others as part of the workflow. So this is also something that has been improved in the latest version. You can have audit reports, and you can also help your DPO, so the person in charge of GDPR compliancy. You can help them with some access and reporting to help to be compliant. So much more than GDPR, therefore, allows you to manage your information and documentation better than you do when you're in manual processes, for better collaboration and avoid silos. And as you have heard a lot already, we automate and optimize business processes. So we can do a lot. We can deal with every single theme or topic in your company, whether it's customer management, mailroom, quality, finance, technical, production, anything really which has documentation and processes can be looked after therefore and optimized with therefore. But today we will focus on HR. So what will we see with HR? We will start with the recruiting. For the recruitment, in the demo I will show you how an external person can fill in a registration. So how do you say, Jenny, a candidature?
Candidacy.
Sorry?
Candidacy.
Yeah, a candidacy, an application, so a job application. Thank you. So yeah, to fill in an e-form with your CV to apply for job, and to gain traceability on that. Then we'll see all the onboarding process to check that all the information is filled in, to go through the interview and the editing of the contract, the signature of the contract. The onboarding with involving all the different actors who have tasks to do for the onboarding, such as creating the email, creating the badge and all that. Then we'll see how the employee is managed on a daily basis. For example, for expense claim, can be timesheet, can be the pay slips, it can be the appraisals report, it can be having reminders on some documents like driving license, ID, working permits, visa, anything that you would need to have reminders to at the end of a specific time, a time delay. Sorry. And then you have the offboarding also. So you have to see this as a puzzle. I'll show you the full story in therefore, but you don't need to implement the full puzzle. Sorry, it's bit coming out of a big cold. So you have to see it as a puzzle, and you decide which piece of the puzzle you want to start with, which one is the most important, the most strategic for you. You don't have to put in place the full story immediately. It can be a journey towards digitalization, and you choose your own journey and your own steps of this journey. Okay, so I would really recommend to start with something small, something very specific. For example, like the onboarding reminders for the actors, or the expense claim, or the, whatever you think is, or generating a contract or the contract signature, whatever you think is the most important topic for you. You start with something specific, get the ambassadors on, get it working, show the benefits, show how easy it is, and then the digitalization will work by itself, really. So let me show you how it works. Okay, so here you have the HR departments. This is therefore dashboard. So therefore dashboard has been revamped lately with the V30. So you have full new colors, very nice, very user friendly. You can do create your own dashboard. with your own tiles here. It's very easy. Even someone who doesn't have any IT background can create their own dashboard. Here, I will start with a recruitment form. So it's an e-form. E-forms are something that are just forms that you can have online. It can be unlimited. It can be for internal people. It can be for external people, like it is here. Okay, I will create application form in the name of Rachel Maupassant. I will fill in all my details. So I'm an external person and I'm applying for the job. My date of birth, I will be extremely young, too young to work, maybe. But that
Charline?
doesn't really matter. Yeah.
You're sharing still the PowerPoint presentation.
Ah, okay. So that's not good. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, that's the PowerPoint.
Still the PowerPoint. Okay, can you see it now? Can you see therefore now?
No, it's still the master view of the PowerPoint.
Okay, I don't know why. Okay, I think let me share. See, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so sorry. So this is the dashboard of Therefore, as I was saying. So it's very nice, very user-friendly. Anyone can, create their own tiles, as you see here. And I will start with the recruitment form. And we will see then that the task will get into the recruitment tile here. So I have no task here to validate, but we will see that task will come in. And then it will start the integration program with the alerts to different people, within between the approval of the contract. So I was on the okay, I know why it stopped. It's because I need to access the okay. I have the toolbar here. That's fine. Okay, so I fill in the application form as an external person. So Rachel Maupassant, I fill in all the information. So as you heard me say, the date of birth, I enter the date of birth, but it's very obviously I'm too young to work here. I can say, okay, I'm service manager. I have a master 2. It's an open application. If it's not, then I have confidential fields that are opening up. Describe in a few sentences why you would like to work because you are amazing. There we go. Why? Because I am amazing. There we go. Tick to answer yes. So I agree to do call on duty, for example. I agree to move nationally. Why this is interesting, it's a very good feature of Therefore, is because if you have some tick boxes like this, you can put filters on. So we have a customer who have added these tick boxes. They have a lot of turnover because they have a lot of students. They have over 200 employees. And this is enabling them to answer very quickly in a negative answer if people haven't ticked the boxes that are compulsory for them. So it's good for them to be able to say that they have answered at least, and the person knows what they where they stand. Then I can add the CV. Here you go. So I add the CV of Rachel Maupassant. I confirm that I agree to keep the CV for 2 years. And here, just for the demo, I'm going to say Charline LeMarchand up, and I submit my job application. So here we go. Here, if I refresh the dashboard, oh, here we go. You have the refresh. I refresh the dashboard, and you can see in the banner recruitment my task to verify and to check this new application. So here we go. I'll move this. So I've received. I'm at the HR department, and I have received a new CV. Obviously, we've done it with eForms, but the CVs can come from any other source that you want. So if you have portals, or if you have them by email, or if you have them on external websites, you can receive them also like this. I have in therefore, you have the CV, the application. I can show the index data and say, yeah, that's great. I really like this person. I set an interview date to the 12th of December. My interview is planned, so I save my index data, and therefore my interview is planned, and that's it. I can move on with my task. Here, this is, I'm going straight to the workflow banner after that. That's where I have all my workflow tasks. If I go back on my dashboard, you see that the task name has changed. I'm still in HR, but I'm in interview 1. So we can say that I'm on the day of the interview. I am interviewing Rachel Maupassant, and I think that indeed this person is amazing. So I want to recruit that person and say, that's it. I recruit that Rachel Maupassant. I can also obviously say the candidate is not selected, and it can send some emails. So once this is done, I have nothing left in my recruitment banner in therefore, so the task is done. I receive an email to say, okay, you have a new member who have been recruited. You need to fill in the integration form. So I'm still part of the HR, but I might be someone else at HR. I receive this email. I fill in the form. I already have all the information regarding Rachel Maupassant already filled in. And I say, okay, function in the company, department manager, start date, start on the 26th of December. I want to create a contract. Then all these fields appear. The end of the trial period is on the 30th of December, for example. It's a permanent employee contract. I want Charline LeMarchand to be the signatory internally. Line manager, also Charline LeMarchand. Oh, okay. And then I want to ask for a badge and an email for that person, for Rachel. No need for a computer, no need for a car, no need for anything else. And let's start the integration, the onboarding of this person. So here, what happens is that all the variable data contained in therefore will create a document, the contract. So we will use a model who you already have in your company. So we will use your existing document and just add the variable data as part of this document. So here we see that one document has arrived in signing an employee contract. Rachel Maupassant. So we see that I have so I'm still at HR. I have a contract to check before sending it to the person. So I have a permanent employee contract here, and you see that Rachel Maupassant's name has been added here. We see that the dates have been added also as variable data. So it's going to show. Here we go. So 26th of December. We see, and also all the variable data that you want implemented in the document will be incremented at the right place. So this avoids different versions of documents, strategic documents on everyone's PC or in shared folders. It's therefore who has the master and the variable data being added. That's it. I checked it. So now it's sent for signature. So according to the tool that you are using for your signature, we have over 14 e-signature providers integrating with therefore. So in France, we're using uSign, for example. This demo works usually with DocuSign, but let me double check. Here we go. Yeah, so I will show you with uSign in France how it works. We receive emails. We go to say you have a document to sign. So I click I'm Rachel Maupassant, so I gave my email address to receive the email from Rachel Maupassant. So Rachel Maupassant receives the document to sign. I see Rachel Maupassant, I see all the variable data. So everything has been filled in by therefore. And I go to the bottom and I say, okay, I want to sign this document. I receive a message with the code. So the code I've just received is 471408, and I sign in the name of Rachel Maupassant. I now sign in the name of Charline. Charline. Here we go. So I have the same document. I see that it's already signed by Rachel Maupassant, and I can sign it myself. Charline. Up, and I receive another message with another code, which is 294366, and I sign in the name of Charline. So the document, the contract has been signed by both parties. So it comes back to therefore. It takes about 15 minutes to update the status of waiting for signatures to sign, and then each actor of the integration program receive an email with some task to do. So let me show you what people receive. Here you go. So you have the emails who are received by the different actors. To here say, prepare the access badge for the new employee. So that's it, because the contract has been signed. I received this task. So please please create the badge. So I have the entry date. I have all the information needed. So I say, okay, I have created the badge. If I go back to my banner, it can be someone else to say, okay, I'm at IT. I need to create the badge. Or I need to create the email. I say, okay, that's it. I have created the email. So every single person involved in the onboarding receives an alert of what they have to do. The people will carry on receiving alerts and follow up until they have ticked on completed. So that's how you can really make sure that everything has been done properly for your employee. And then you receive an email to say that's it. The onboarding pathway is done. So the badge, this is complete. Everything else is not required. So the computer, office, telephone, car, but the email address is complete as well. So as a manager, I know that everything has been done for Rachel Maupassant to be onboarded properly. So that's really valuable information as well. So this is on the HR side and following up. What happened on the employee side? So the employee has received an email to say, we have received your application, and then we can also have a portal for the employee. So let me show you the French portal. It's not available yet in the English demo, but it doesn't really matter, you will understand. So as an employee, I receive an alert, an email to say you have your portal and you have to drop some documents on this portal for your onboarding, for example, or for carrying on with your onboarding. So I can send documents and I can say, okay, so MATR, let me double check what it was. 0156. I have the password, which was in the email. So as you can see here in the email, I have the password here and the number. And I can say, okay, I'm going to drop my driving license, for example. So here in my documents, I can ask for my driving license. I can add my driving license. I can add other documents needed, and I send the document. Okay. You can also add some more information. So you can, once you're an employee, what is very interesting is you can change your emergency contact, you can change your personal data, you can have, you can declare some timesheets. So, okay, with what you're doing, the start, the end, with the signature, if you need a customer, for example, to sign your timesheet, and you can also ask for a holiday request or a medical issue. So let's see, MATL 0156. So that's it. So Rachel Maupassant, so it finds me in the system. This is the number of holiday days I have available. I say that, for example, I'm ill. So if I'm ill, I need to give the doctor's document in here. I can also do it from my phone, which enables me to take a picture. Or I can say, this is a holiday request. I want to be on holiday from the 14th to the 15th of December. So it calculates 2 days. And once I send this requirement, it's available for my manager to approve and to be available on the employee files. So that's it in terms of processes, onboarding, etc. Let me show you also where the documents are saved. You can also see here the therefore integration with Teams. It's with regards to the approval for the holiday request. So I see here that I've received an alert as being the manager. There we go. It's a bit, here we go. So I need to validate the holiday request. And I can also do it from my phone, so I can approve or refuse. So this is really easily done from wherever you are, and people don't even need to be trained on therefore. So back to therefore, let's see how to look for documents and how the file has been created. So in therefore, I have my repository. And go. Or I can also access it from here. So I have my HR files. Oh, I don't have permissions. Well, you see the security in therefore. Okay, so I'll show you from the French tenant. Let's see. Let's try again here. Maybe it's because I had too many windows open. No, restricted area. Well, that shows the security in therefore. So let me show you in the French demo environment. So here we go. So how do I look for documents in therefore? Oh, logging in. So I can access it from my dashboard or directly through my HR files, or I can access it from the search also on the side. So here you have the, I'll make it a bit bigger. You have obviously everything else I have in there for demo, but you have the HR files with the recruitment integration, the daily business, and in the HR file you have all the employee contract, all the information, the training, the medical documents, the the expenses, everything else. So let me check. I can look for all my cases. So I can find Rachel Maupassant here. The employee file has been created automatically by therefore. So you don't need to create a file like you do in Windows with all the subfiles that you create for everyone. Everything is already done, and you can find immediately in this folder all the documents you need. So you can see here the contract with the, or so not the contract, but the driving license. You can find the holiday requests that have been filled in. You can see the contracts that have been saved here. You can see that documents are already in the case. If I want to open the case, so the folder, I can find the documents of the contract here. Let me go back one step. So, into HR file. Let's see. I'll open up the case of Rachel, and you can see here, and with the employee contract, you see the contract here. You see the leave request. You see the driving license. So you see already all the documents that we have saved are already saved in the right basket, in the right folder. So you didn't need, no one needed to save them in the right area. It was done automatically by Therefore, which is a great way of gaining efficiency, but also traceability and making sure that the documents are in the right place with the right security. How do I look for a contract or a document? For example, if I want to look for a contract, I can ask for contract. I can also show all the different contracts here. I can use some, I need to move this. I can't see my buttons. I can add some searches. So for example, everything with Julien, all my contracts with Julien will come up. I can, so I can filter. I can look for all my permanent contracts, or what we call CDI in France here, if you want, and it finds all the CDI contracts. I can combine different filters, so extremely easy to find the right documents when you need them. So that's it. We have seen a lot of things. Let me go back to the presentation. We have seen a lot of things. We've seen the e-form with the application form. We've seen how to save contracts or make contracts with variable data, or make documents. It can be anything else than contract, with information provided in an e-form. We have seen the electronic signature integrated with Therefore. We have seen the alerts and the notifications going through the workflows. We've seen it for the onboarding. We've seen it for the validation of the contract. We've seen it with the holiday validation in Teams. So we've seen various examples. We have seen the onboarding workflow, sending the notifications to all the different actors to follow this. We have seen document repository for people to send their documents and them going directly to Therefore with a possibility of notifications behind. There's also e-forms that can be created, for example, to collect some personal information before the onboarding. There's also a possibility to have a portal for employees to access all their own documents, like their working contracts. You have seen also the workflow notification and the integration with Teams. You have seen the dashboard, which can be completely personalized and customized by every employee. You have seen the self-service portal, which can be, it's an option, obviously, but it can be very useful. It can have your colors, your logo, can have a totally different look and feel. You have seen the e-forms, which are also available on your mobile or on tablets. So it can be used for any other usage, that you can think of. So Therefore is, really, really useful for HR on all sides, and you can do really a lot. I'm just going back to this and reminding you that it's really a puzzle. You have seen a lot of things. You don't need to put everything in place. Keep focused on something specific and pick what you need from what you have seen in the demo. So therefore is used in all industries, all departments. These are just examples, but we're literally in every single industry in the world. Two couple of examples. So IDEX, it has 5,000 employees. It's a big company in France. It's been using Therefore since 2015. They have over 350 workflows today running in the company. Some of those workflows are linked to HR, others are finance, quality, anything really. But they are using Therefore for centralizing all their documents. For HR, they're also using it as a job bank. So where they put job descriptions that they have for the company and people can apply directly through Therefore. For Groupe Branjon, it's got 1,300 employees. It's using Therefore for a lot of different topics as well, finance, HR, quality, lots of other topics. And for HR, they're using it for the storage of employee files. They even had an article in Therefore in some magazines. We can have on-premise or online. Online, the benefits of online is the innovation. We have 2 updates a year. They are also always up to date because we put all the bug fixes, everything, the updates are directly put on the server. So you benefit of really the optimal version of Therefore. Extremely secured. We're in 2 different countries. It has 27001 certification. It's HDS, so for health data storage, so very high security. So really, a very good option if you want to look into a better security of your documents. So good. I wanted to keep it into 45 minutes. It's been 46 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed this webinar and that it brought a lot of ideas and visibility on what you could do with Therefore. I'll have a look if you have any questions. Okay.
I've answered several questions that we received during the call. So guys, thank you so much for asking all these questions. There was a question about the GDPR, specifically in Indonesia, but I answered it in general. What does it mean for countries outside of the GDPR? So the GDPR is an EU directive. So it is targeted for companies and citizens within the EU. If you are a company who has the main headquarters within the EU, the GDPR still applies to you. Even if you have branch offices outside of the EU, you still need to comply to the GDPR. So if you are operating outside of the EU, check to see how the company is set up and how it's collecting data from EU citizens. That's really important. But I'm not a GDPR legal expert. So in any case, definitely check with local authorities to make sure that you're conforming if the GDPR applies to you. We did have a comment from Martin Brueggemann saying that there are other privacy directives in other countries, such as Australia and New Zealand. So again, even if you're not within the EU, you might have very similar privacy laws where you live. Then there was a question, Charline, is the configuration that you showed, the HR portal, available to resellers?
It is available. It depends on each country. It's available, so it depends on the policy of each country. But for France, we make it available. Yeah.
So if you're interested, check pre-sales at therefore.net to find out more about it.
Yeah, or your local BDM if you have a BDM.
Yeah. In any case, a really good tip is check out the eForms 1 and eForms 2 e-learning course available on our extranet for totally free, because everything that Charline showed is can be configured yourself using the skills that we teach in those 2 courses. So there is hope for you no matter where you are.
There was a question here. Can we only use Therefore only as a document repository connected to pre-existing HR system like Oracle? So yes, you can use Therefore as a document repository and link it. We have many ways of integration with Therefore, whether it's web services, REST APIs, exchanging data, opening up some database views. So there's loads of different ways of integration or integrating. It depends on the software you're talking about. I personally don't know about Oracle. The best is to talk about some Oracle is quite tricky because it's quite closed from what I know. The best is to look a bit more in details. Maybe there's a way to exchange flat files to exchange information. So also you have to bear in mind that Therefore you can use the URL to access some documents. So if in HR softwares you have the possibility to add a URL somewhere in your HR software, you can give access to some documents straight from your HR applications to Therefore documents. You can also, look into the further integration. Okay. Anything else? You might have been answering already. From Kenya, we're currently implementing a Therefore project. Great. But e-forms, I say digital signatures. So the signature, careful, it's a topic that is widely used. We hear electronic signature for a bit everything on the market. You can use a digital signature, let's say on an e-form already, as you have seen on one of the e-form I showed you, but it's not a legal signature, but it might depend on the legislation of your country. I don't know about Kenya's legislation, but simply an e-form signature might be enough in some cases, but otherwise in what we really call electronic signature in Europe anyway, is that it answers the EUIDAS requirements. So this is a little bit more, it's a bit more secure with some requirements that are not matched by the electronic signature in the e-form. With the Wacom, I haven't tried integrating an e-signature from Wacom directly to Therefore. It's maybe something we can ask pre-sales to see if they face that.
Yeah.
Universal connector, yes, is also a good option for integration. It really depends on the HR application you're using.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the licensing, that's pretty easy. So licensing is always dependent. Well, in the classical Therefore setup, the licensing is going to depend on the number of users who are accessing the system. So it would either be a named user license, which is a type of license which is tied to a specific user, or a concurrent user, which is a license pool. And that's a license type that is consumed by one user. When the user signs off, that license is then released back and can be used by another user. So in the traditional licensing sense, that's exactly how it would be. So you use Therefore for a number of different departments, and you wouldn't need to purchase an additional Therefore connector just to use it for an HR process. However, for this specific HR demo, it's a package type, which is a little bit different than our traditional licensing. But just to keep it easy, normal Therefore licensing, you can use the regular user licenses and use them for any function that you would like within Therefore. I guess that's the simplest way. Yeah.
There's another topic question here. Are there some low-end HR systems that we can compete directly against? So it's I would say it depends on your market. I have seen that I had a big project with a very big company in France, so you would expect them to have a full-blown HR software to do all this. But in fact, the HR director told me that they didn't have a solution, a software who could do everything that we could do. So not even low-end software, but because obviously we can compete with some low-end software. with what we can do on some areas, but also in big companies. I see even Canon France, they have mobile expense for expense, they have electronic signature and software to do that. They have a portal for recruitment. There's different softwares to deal with different parts of the process, but the whole workflow of integration, it's not managed at all. So it can be, so we're putting therefore in place at the moment. So it can be even big companies who have big lacks. And a couple of weeks ago, I was also at a big company. The HR director told me initially, no, we have everything we need. And in the end, when I did the demo, there were 6 or 7 topics that he wanted to do urgently with therefore. So I would really, show what we can do, because it can really bring some good ideas to people, whether it's low end or even high end customers. I have another question. There's loads of questions.
When submitting documents, such as a driver's license, via the personal portal in the e-form, are the documents registered in different categories or in just one? So if you're submitting documents to an e-form, the e-form is always connected to a specific category in therefore. And with normal configuration, all the documents that are submitted would be saved into the same category. However, there are configuration methods where you could actually then change the category of a certain document if you'd want to have separate categories for different types of documents that are uploaded to the e-form. So it really depends on how you want to configure it. Does that answer your question? As usual with most things with therefore, everything is possible, but you just have to configure it. And we explain how that works in the Workflow 2 e-learning course. So check that out.
Okay, I have the last question. I'm not sure I understand. Customer looking to know at what status of the document upload process based on status, looking for this feature in dynamic web. I'm not sure I understand the question.
My guess is that they would want to look at the status of a document in the dynamic web viewer. So if there's like a workflow, that's how I would interpret the question. So
you can do this, of course. Yeah.
You have the dashboard on the dynamic web viewer, and you can actually have a tile which shows you at what stage different documents are in a specific workflow process. So you can actually do that. If I'm understanding your question correctly, Saichander. If I'm not understanding your question correctly, then let me know. Send me an email, jennifer.schmidt@therefore.net, and I will try to answer it. But from my understanding of your question, you should be able to use a tile in the dynamic web viewer to see the status of a document as it's going through a workflow.
Okay. Good. Okay, well, if there's no more questions, I think we can.
Yeah, we received a lot of questions. Some of them are have been answered, and other ones that are very technical. We'll leave that for another time. But thank you again for asking all your questions, and thank you for spending your morning with us, or your afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. I hope this was interesting and educational for you. So I guess for us, it's a very much thank you and goodbye.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Hope you enjoyed and have a great day and great end of the year.
And we will send out the recording link to all of you over Zoom, and I'll upload it to our YouTube channel. So have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.